Welcome to episode 15 of the Comedy Kitchen. I'm your host, Dennis Wirth, local comedian out of New England, bringing on all my friends from the comedy world, do my two favorite things in life. We're going to be doing some stand-up, we're going to make you laugh, and we're going to cook up some great dishes, and we're going to eat them. That's the best part. I love to eat. Everybody thinks I like to cook. No, I love to eat. Okay, we're sticking with our sports theme. We're doing dishes you can make while you watch your favorite sports team in the game, and one of the people I brought on from the comedy world I met, and he's one funny guy. Please help me welcome Mr. Bryan Keith. Bryan.
Hey, Dennis, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for being on the show. You excited here?
Yeah, I'm a terrible cook, so.
Terrible cook.
Anything I can learn. Chef Boyardee actually has a restraining order against me.
Okay, well, you're going to learn today. We're going to teach you how to make some stuff up. Who's your favorite sports team?
My favorite sports team is the New York Jets.
The New York. Oh man, why did I have you in New York? No, hey, your team's your team. All right, I'm a big Patriots guy, right? The New York Jets and Curtis Martin. All right. All right, well, these are some dishes you can make while you watch the Jets, and they're quick dishes. If somebody calls you and says, hey, Bryan, I'm coming over to watch the Jets for you, you can put it together real quick. It don't take a lot of time. All right, it is a comedy kitchen. We do the cooking thing. We do the comedy thing. Before we get started, tell the folks, how did you get started out in comedy?
I started in comedy maybe about back in the 1980s. I've always wanted to be a comic. I've always thought, as a kid, I never went out and played sports. I sat in my room and I listened to comedy records, and I would go to school and do them over and over and over and over and over again. So when they opened a comedy club in my town, they had an open mic. So I decided for a year I went and watched open mics. And then I took a course, and the only reason I took the course is because the graduation of the course was to get up on stage and tell jokes. And it blossomed, and I did it for 10 years, and then I quit and had a baby, and now I've been doing it again for 5 more years. You know, the comedy bug bites you, and you can never get away from it. And now I'm performing up and down the East Coast. I go to Gotham in New York City. I was at Foxwoods 2 weeks ago, and you can come and look at me and check out my website, bmkcomedy.com, for all my sites. And I'm on the way up. And Dennis over here is a big proponent of local comics and giving them spots. And if you feel like you're funny or you want to be funny, go check out a local open mic. You never know what happens. You meet a lot of friends, and the experience is awesome.
Yeah, that's true. You brought up some good points there. You meet a lot of friends on the comedy scene, and that's all the big names started, the local mics. That's how they all got going. And
you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere.
Nobody's going to see you performing in your basement.
Exactly, except for when you were young listening to your comedy albums,
exactly.
Right? All right. That's good stuff, though, yeah.
You got to get a lot of mirrors.
And you mentioned when you have children, that kind of slows you down a little bit.
You know.
My son's off to college now, and I'm looking for stuff to do, so it's working out. All right, today we're going to be making some sweet and sour chicken, and you can't make that without
chicken.
Some chicken. You were right on. So why don't you open that up and throw a couple right in our frying pan here.
All right.
Maybe we got some. These are
the utensils.
99% fat-free chicken. Maybe put 4 of them in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we're going to throw the cover right on there and get them going. All right. So as these are cooking, tell the folks all the years you've been doing comedy. What's one of your favorite memories in comedy?
One of my favorite memories in comedy is I worked with Sam Kinison. I did 3 shows with him, and it was probably about 6 months before he passed away. He was an amazing guy. He was so funny, so talented, and gracious to us new guys coming up. He didn't have to give us spots on his show, but the club owner knew we could perform and do it, and he was more than happy to let us go and do the show.
Go and perform. Wow. I just figured out why me and you get along so well. Cam Kinison is my hero in comedy. He's the reason I got started. And
he was freaking awesome.
I collect his stuff. I've spent maybe $10,000 collecting his memorabilia I got at my house. But I said I'll never get my money back, but I've had so much enjoyment doing it. And
him, Andrew Dice Clay was a really nice guy when I met him in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But I'm an old school guy. I like the old guys. I like Buddy Hackett and George Gobel and Alan King, and I think Bob Newhart is amazing.
He was classic, the Newhart Show. I'm
Yeah.
Larry, this is my brother Daryl, this is my other brother Daryl. I love that. All right, so what we're going to do next in our tall pan here, we are going to need 3/4 of a cup of pineapple juice. So grab your pineapples there. You want to pop that open, but leave the lid on because we're going to drain it out a little
just
bit.
using juice.
Just the juice right now.
Okay.
So throw 3/4 of a cup of the juice.
Excellent.
Looking good. We're going to pour that right in. Get a little burner on a simmer here. All right, next thing we're going to need is 3/4 of a cup of white vinegar, what you got over there too.
Vinegar.
Your cup here.
If I can get it open.
And as you're doing that, I'm going to flip our chicken here.
That's boneless chicken?
Boneless chicken, 99% fat-free, because
Nice.
the sweet and sour sauce, that'll get you enough in the arteries. You don't have to add to it any with the chicken. So.
You can tell them all about the fat-free.
Hey, big guys, we know how to eat, but you know, it catches up with you after a while.
I know, people are going to see this and go, well, if I eat that, well, maybe, I don't know.
That's when you know it tastes good. When you end up our size, you know it tastes good. Next thing, we're going to need half a cup of water. We got the water in your little cups over there. Pour that right on in.
Agua for our Spanish-speaking friends.
Aqua. We have a big Spanish audience. All right, we're going to cover that up, and we want to bring that to a boil, so we got that right on high, and we're going to get that going to a boil.
This seems pretty simple.
See that? See, you thought cooking was hard. Everybody thinks it's hard, but we're doing simple dishes here. That's why you watch most cooking shows, because you couldn't do what they're doing. We keep it simple here. We're doing simple dishes. Guys like you who never cooked before, you can do these easy. Get ready for the game. Patriots, Jets, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready.
You're ready.
You know, Michael Vick.
Michael Vick, you never know. All right, you mentioned it once, but tell the folks once again, if they want to check out Bryan Keith, what is your website?
My website is bmkcomedy.com. You can find it, you Google it, all over the internet. You can check me out on YouTube, BMK Comedy. I list my shows. There's videos on my website where I'm appearing. Some comments from local comics and club owners who have seen my act and know where how I can perform. You know, I tried to come across as a nice guy, but sometimes, you know, got that little edge to me.
Everybody's got that little insult in comedy. Some are insult comics, and one of them makes them laugh.
Once you find your voice and your persona on stage, then you start to write your jokes to perform the way you're supposed to be. A lot of comics go up there and they're very funny, but they have no stage presence.
Stage presence.
I think you have to perform the jokes as opposed to just saying the jokes.
It's a long road. You want to give them a show, not just jokes. You want to give them a show. Absolutely.
Exactly. And you want to be remembered.
Yeah, you want to stand out. Sure. I got the booming voice. Everyone is because I'm so loud. Everybody else quiet, then I come up and roar. So
everybody,
they got that
I look
thing.
like Colonel Sanders.
They're the KFC chickens here. That's right.
And of course, we're making chicken.
And so that works out for you. You can bring this home and show your wife how to make the sweet and sour chicken.
Exactly.
All right. We have a segment of the show called Funny Food Questions. Are you ready?
Oh, sure. Why not?
All right. Here we go. All right, Brian.
Yes.
If you went grocery shopping and you came home with some spotted dick, what do you think you'd have?
An infectious disease.
An infectious disease you think you'd have? No, you'd have some sponge pudding. There it is. Heinz microwavable spotted dick sponge pudding.
That's not something I want to put in my mouth.
That's an interesting name for a pudding for sure. All right, well, that's what that is right there. All right, next thing we
Where did you find that?
Well, you know, I was on another Access show, and they were doing things they found on Facebook, and I said, that's a good idea. So I Googled up some funny food names, and there were a million. I said, well, that's a new segment to the show right there. It's working.
Oh, so I'm the guinea pig of the spotted
you're the
dick joke.
you're the third person.
Okay.
We've had some interesting other food names, trust me. You're not the first. All right, we need to mix in 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch.
Cornstarch
over there. We got your spoons here.
1.5 tablespoons?
1.5 tablespoons. So we got a tablespoon right there. We got 2 tablespoons. Mom's ready. See, hey, if we lose one, we got another one.
Preparation is key. 1.
1.5. All right.
I think I bought a lot of this stuff in the 80s.
Of course you did. All right, what we're going to do is grab your tablespoon again, and we're going to add 2 more tablespoons of water to that. Splash right on top. So we got the hot water. Now we're going to add some cold water to that. 1, 2.
So it doesn't get clumpy.
That's right.
Clumpy was actually my nickname in high school.
Everybody's got to have a nickname, I guess.
Everybody's gotta
Sure,
have
why
one.
not? All right, as we're going, I know on the comedy scene, some nights you hit drunks, you hit the hecklers, you hit wild things. What's the craziest things ever happened to you in comedy?
The craziest thing that ever happened to me in comedy? Well, I guess it was, I was doing a show in Malone, New York. And if you don't know where Malone, New York is, it's about 4 feet from the Canadian border. I had done the show maybe 2 years ago, and me and my buddy were going back and we were going to do the show again. And we get up there, and the opener goes up, and he kills. Friggin' awesome, kills. People are rolling. I get up there, do 20 minutes, nothing. My buddy gets up there, headlines, 40 minutes, nothing. Everybody comes over to us after the show and says, that's the same stuff you did 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
You're memorable.
But on the other hand, then they were like, well, let's go drinking. So they took us to bars, and they left us in Malone, New York with no car. They stole our money.
Oh, gee.
And we were drunk, and we had to find a way to get back to the hotel where our cars were. We had no money from the show, and we had $30 to get home from Malone, New York.
Wow, welcome to comedy, huh? There's a wacky story for you right there. You never know in comedy, every night's different. That's the excitement of it, unless you were there 2 years ago and you remember the same jokes from 2 years ago.
How do you remember something 2 years ago?
Some people are like that. All right, we're going to flip our chicken. Looks like we're getting a good cook on that, so that's some good news.
Nice.
Very good stuff. All right, so on the... When you were young and you were in your room, you were listening, who were some of the comics that inspired you to want to do comedy when you grew up, that you looked up to want to be like them?
Bob Newhart.
Sure.
Albert Brooks.
Okay.
Is amazing. Richard Pryor, Bill Cosby. My parents used to have this album called My Son's a Nut, Alan Sherman. And he was a folk singer back in the 60s. Okay. But he did song parodies. He actually, Hello Mother, Hello Father, Camp Granada, that is Alan Sherman. And I would listen to that for hours.
So he was like the Weird Al Yankovic of your time then, yeah. So he was the original Weird Al right there.
Yeah, and he was a folk singer, and he would take all the current songs, and he would play his guitar and just make up words to them. And it was the first time I've ever heard song parodies.
Song parodies, right?
You know? Yeah. But everybody says Richard Pryor, you know. Richard Pryor really pushed people to the forefront. But there's so many people who influence you that you don't know when you're listening to it.
Yeah, yeah.
That 10, 15 years down the line, you're like, oh, that's like that guy. That's
Those
like
are the
this
people,
guy.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. There used to be a show on TV called Can You Make Me Laugh?
I remember it, yeah.
You remember that show?
Yeah.
And I remember watching Howie Mandel when he used to have the big handbag and he put the rubber thing on his head, and I'd be like, he's doing nothing. And people are just laughing.
Just cracking
and there was another show that was all about stand-ups. I forgot who was on it. George Kirby used to do a lot of impressions. The Riddler.
The Riddler
Frank
from
Gorshin.
Batman. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, used to be. And I'd watch those shows religiously. And I'd let my mom tell my mom that I want to stay up because I'd watch Johnny Carson and I'd want to see the comics. I would watch Johnny Carson just to see the comics.
Just to see the comics, sure. Yeah,
it was amazing that these guys could go out and actually tell jokes and make a living telling jokes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you made Carson. You were a made man in comedy. That was it. After that, it was downhill from there.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you see that steam? You know what that means? I think we're up to a boil here, right? Very good. We're looking good. All right, you talked about that. On the local scene, who are some of your favorite comics on the local scene to work with?
Well, being from Connecticut and just moving up here to Massachusetts, I don't know a lot of the local guys around here. There's a guy, Mike Murray from Rhode Island, the deaf comic.
Very
you know
funny.
Mike Murray?
Sure do.
Awesome guy.
Great guy.
John Parada, who works out of the Comedy Connection.
Does a lot to help young comics.
Factory, does a lot. There's a guy, Mike Cronin, who runs Meatballs Comedy.
Yeah.
He does the same thing, gives a lot of new guys, up-and-coming guys, places to perform. Connecticut, there's loads. Pat Oates is great.
Sure.
There's Darren Rivera, Chris Clark, all local guys who I've known through New Haven who are starting to branch out and go other ways.
elsewhere,
Yeah.
okay.
Jackson Comedy Jackson. I don't know why he's called Jackson Comedy Jackson, but he's been on TV and BTV, and he runs a couple shows out of Connecticut. Johnny Benson from Extreme Comedy gives a lot of people
A lot of stage
a
time.
lot of stage time and work. And Brad Axelrod, who owns the Treehouse, has started a lot of us on our way
Okay.
because he ran. That was the first place I ever did an open mic,
Really?
and he runs a big competition at Foxwoods.
Okay.
Or Mohegan Sun, I'm sorry. The funniest comic in New England, which I have placed 9th 2 years running.
There you go. And that's the big time. You get in the big casino and place 9th.
Yeah,
Good
placed
stuff.
9th.
Yeah,
I'd like to move up.
Sure. Hey, just to be there, just for the experience.
True.
It's all worth it. And you mentioned there are a lot of good comics out there who are willing to help you out. There are a couple bad apples on the scene, but there's so many more good comics than bad comics. It's a fun scene.
You got to look at it as a community. It's a network. You help me, I help you.
Sure.
Everybody helps each other. We're all in the same boat. We're all trying to do the same thing. You can't come in with a big ego and say, well, I'm better than this guy, even though you may think you are.
Right.
Every time I go on to a show, I want everybody to do well, but I don't want them to do as well as I am.
Nobody does. You got to know your place in comedy. There are a couple of guys, though, they try to kick you down because they consider you the competition and they don't want any competition. And
Right.
it's kind of sad when you hit people like that. But
Right.
like I said, there's so many more good ones than bad ones.
Like you said, Freddie Stone,
One of the great guys of comedy.
is awesome. I've done a bunch of shows with him, and he's an awesome guy, and he'll help me out. And and every time he sees me, even if I haven't seen him for 6 months, he's always cordial and comes over and talks to you. Some guys just, I don't want to talk to you.
They blow you off a little bit. You got to stick to the good ones. That's right.
Right. I think you're going to get farther by being pleasant and treating people nice than going and trying to put everybody down.
Just like in real life, absolutely. So we're going to take this off the burner because it's cooling down. We want to let it cool down a little bit.
Ooh.
And as we're doing that, we are going to grab our sugar, and we need 1 cup of sugar we're going to pour right in there. I got the sugar. You got the cup.
This sounds sweet.
Whamma-jamma. That's the famous line from the Comedy Kitchen. When you get
1
cooking,
cup?
when it starts smelling good,
I made a mess.
whamma-jamma. We always make a mess in the Comedy Kitchen.
Okay, good.
But you know what? We got Mom here, and Mom cleans it up for us because she's a sweetheart. Give it up, Mom. All right.
Hey, if you have nothing to do, you can come clean my kitchen.
There you go. Don't steal my help. Don't steal my help. All right. Next thing we are going to need is a ½ a teaspoon of red food coloring. We got that over there.
Okay.
And I think you got your teaspoon up there somewhere.
Still in the cornstarch.
That's right.
There it is. ½ teaspoon of red.
And I was actually checking if I had food coloring last night, and I spilled a little and I had red fingers, but most of it came off, so I'm doing good.
I thought we were making Easter eggs
I
when I
said,
said
boy,
this.
hey, you could make a good Easter egg recipe with this. This is good stuff right here.
All right.
All right.
Boom.
So who does the cooking at your house, Brian? You or the Lord?
Unfortunately, I do.
You do, really?
Yeah, my wife is a worse cook than I am.
Okay. So what are some of your favorite dishes to make up?
Microwave hot dogs, pasta.
So the difficult
Pasta's
stuff,
easy.
basically.
Yeah.
Macaroni
Yeah.
and cheese?
Macaroni and
stuff?
cheese. Well, the baby loves macaroni
That's a
and cheese.
famous one.
All she eats is noodles and goldfish.
Well, sure.
And I can do that. I can't even burn those.
That's an easy one for you right there. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our pineapples that we drained and we're going to pour our pineapples right in there.
All right.
Now it's really getting good, right?
This is excellent. Maybe I should open the top.
You might want
more.
to pop that right off of there,
Yeah.
sure. There we go.
Two fat guys, white guys making Asian food. You don't see that too often.
Well, I work in an Asian food restaurant, so
Do
I got
you?
all the good recipes. That's what I do. All right, next thing we're going to do, we're going to grab our cherries over there. We're going to pour the cherries right in.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to be an old pro here, Brian.
Look at
This
that.
is good stuff.
I'm going to excellent helper.
All right. You're gonna remember how to show your wife how to make. You're gonna make this for your wife tonight, right?
No, I'll order
All
it.
right. But you know how to make it. That's the most important thing.
I'll call Yen Yen and order it. It'd be easier that way.
Get someone else to cook, but you never get that homemade taste. That's what
No.
we're after. Let's see, how's our chicken doing? I think
Looks
we're looking
decent.
pretty good here, right?
Yeah.
All right. So now comes the magic time. You ready
How
for
long have you
magic?
been cooking?
Oh, 27 years or so we've been doing in the restaurant business.
Nice.
So, why do you think I'm so big? It catches up with you after a while,
it's
but it's
the old,
good.
you know, you don't trust a skinny chef.
That's right. I said that on one episode. That's when you know you're getting good food. When the cook is big, you know he knows how to make good food.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take that with the spoon, not the whole thing, but we're going to pour it just till the chicken's covered.
Okay.
That looks
Say
good.
when.
That's good. That's good. Well,
Oh, you need your spoon.
we need our spoon. so
Spoon
we're
hog.
gonna pour that right over a little bit. And as I'm doing this, years from now, when you're all done your comedy and you look back, what do you want to be remembered for? What are your goals? What do you hope to accomplish?
I just want to be remembered as a good person, you know, somebody who was funny, always put on a good show. To me, everybody wants to be famous and make the money and be on Johnny Carson, The Tonight Show, have the big theaters, but if you can get up in front of a room and make people forget about their problems for a little while, have fun doing it, are good doing it, that's what matters. I collect my own memorabilia.
Okay.
Every show I do where they have the big posters,
Yeah.
I always take them because
Oh, good souvenir.
I'm 53 years old. I have a 2-year-old daughter.
Sure.
I want her to know what I did. I want her to have the posters and say, you know,
Right, yeah.
now I perform in my office is where I rehearse, and I have a mic stand, and she pulls it down, and she just yells into it. I go, tell me a joke, and she's like, jokes, jokes, jokes. Little 2 years, it's the most hilarious
That's
thing.
the best
But I
times.
want her, in case something happens, and I want her to know what I did.
What you
and
did, what you're remembered for.
You know, I don't ever think I'll be famous. I would love to be famous. I'd love to somebody see this
Sure.
show and typecast me. I wouldn't have a problem. But you want to give back something. I think this is my way of giving back to humanity. You know, you go out to a comedy club for 2 hours. You can forget about all your problems. There's somebody up there making you laugh, talking about the same problems that you have in life, and we all feel connected.
They say laughter is the best medicine. If you can make people forget about their problems for a little while, then you've done a good thing in life. That's what I say. And,
Totally agree.
you know, you're still having the time of your life, even if you never hit the big time.
You know
it's
what?
just such a fun
I'll
thing
go
to do.
anywhere and everywhere to perform. Doesn't matter.
That's right.
You know,
Just wanna
if there's
make
an
people laugh.
audience and a microphone, you got to drag me off
I
stage.
say that on my website. I played everywhere from packed halls to dive bars, and I love making people laugh
You
each
know,
time
the
just
the
as
best
much.
thing is you walk into some of these clubs or you walk into a show and it's maybe like an old beat up VFW or an
Sure.
Elks Hall, and you walk in and you're like, oh, this is going to be a nightmare. And it's the best
Turns
show
out
ever.
to be one of the funnest
Yep.
crowds. All right, you ready for my favorite part of the show?
Eating?
That's the favorite part. Big guy knows the favorite part of the show. He knows what's going on. All right, we got a fork
Excellent.
for you. We got a fork for me. Bowl for you.
Thank you.
Bowl for me. All right, so throw your dish right over here. We'll get a little bit in here for you.
Looks awesome.
I'm gonna get you, Jerry. All right, go ahead and
Nice and
take
nice.
a little bite of that and tell me what you think of the secret recipe from the Asian culture.
I love chicken.
Oh,
This is great.
very sweet and very
Yeah.
tasty.
I could make this for my wife. She'd probably eat it.
And she would enjoy it. Okay. This
I
is the
didn't burn
Comedy
it.
Kitchen. We have done the cooking thing. Would you be nice enough to give the folks at home some of your stand-up comedy?
I would love to.
You would love to, and we will be right back. Welcome back to the Comedy Kitchen. Now you guys know how to make your sweet and sour chicken, one of the dishes you can make at game time while you're watching your favorite sports team. If you get a chance, check out my website, www.dennisworth.webs.com. Joke in the Box Comedy Clubs, and one of the guys it has been my privilege to have in my rooms perform comedy, I give you the genius of Mr. Bryan Keith.
Thank you,
Go
Dennis.
get 'em, Bryan.
Thanks. Thanks, Dennis. I've had a terrible month. I had to put my pet pig down. It was very sad. Apparently, he tore his hamstring. We had him cremated. God, that was one hell of a luau. I keep his remains wrapped in tin foil right next to the bread and the mustard. I wonder if he ever thought in his afterlife he'd be reincarnated as a sandwich. My life sucks. I had a bad morning. I spent all morning trying to put the top down on my convertible sofa. And then I went to the stationery store today, but they moved. It's a stationery store. It used to be right next to the mobile station, which is in the same stinking spot every day. My life sucks, let me tell you. My family sucks. I got into a big argument with my brother, so I hit him in the head with a rock. Now he only speaks Russian. Turns out it was a Rosetta Stone. I'm telling you, my whole family. I have a cousin, 32 years old, total illiterate, can't read a word. So when he comes over for dinner, just to screw with him, I serve alphabet soup. Intelligence doesn't run too high in my family. My sister, it's a beautiful girl, but not the brightest bulb in the closet. I told her I was recently diagnosed with ADD. She looks at me and goes, "Oh, that's terrible. You can't add?" She thinks a Brazilian wax is something you get at the car wash. My life sucks. I used to be real heavy at one point in my life. I used to be 361 pounds. I had a 54-inch waist. I wore a 54-inch belt. You have any idea how depressing this is? I tried to commit suicide one night, tied my belt to the light in the ceiling, stood on my bed, slipped it around my neck, jumped off, hit the floor, broke my ankle, and still had 4 inches slack. I was a fat boy. I ordered my chicken pot pie a la mode. My idea of a threesome, me and 2 pizzas. My cholesterol level and IQ were the same. I swear to God, you shaved the back of my head, you would have found a blowhole. I was a fat boy. I lost the weight, though. I lost the weight. I went on a diet. I did it the old-fashioned way. I went on Weight Watchers. If you don't know what Weight Watchers is or what Weight Watchers does, I'll explain it to you. What Weight Watchers does is they assign a point value to everything you eat and give you a tracker and a target number you should hit by the end of the day. I really didn't grasp this whole concept. By the end of the day, my tracker looked like an NBA score. Bryan 101, Weight Watchers 38. I didn't lose any weight for the first 6 months, but I went undefeated. 361 pounds. I was a big boy. 54-inch waist, and I wore a 60-inch jacket. You have any idea how big a pair of 54-inch pants and a 60-inch jacket are? Imagine walking into your kitchen, your refrigerator is wearing a pair of jeans and a leather jacket. Sure, he looks cool. Keep cold stuff in the refrigerator. All right. 361 pounds. When I was that heavy, I had to buy all my clothes in the Fat Man store. In the Fat Man store, they sell a jogging suit size 60. It's a jogging suit size 60. Come on, the last time this guy went jogging is because he didn't hear the bells on the ice cream truck the first time. I tried to be healthy. My doctor was like, "Well, Bryan, maybe you should consider having the lap band surgery." I'm like, lap band? I'm 361 pounds. I sit down, I got no stinking lap. Boobs, bellies, knees, and ankles. That's all I got going on. Now, the problem with the lap band is you lose your weight so quick, your skin doesn't have time to recover. So if I had had this done, I'd be standing up here, look like a cross between a Shar-Pei puppy and the guy from Metallica. But I'm trying to be healthier. I am recently now doing a high fiber diet. I eat nothing but whole wheat pasta, shredded wheat, Fiber One bars. This morning, I actually crapped a wicker basket. I figure if I keep this up, by the time summer comes, I will have passed a whole rattan patio set. That's my time. My name's Bryan. Check me out at bmkcomedy.com. Now back to you, Mr. Dennis Wirth.
All right, Great stuff.
Thanks,
Bryan.
man.
Thank you so much for being on. As a gift, we got some Comedy Kitchen sweet and sour sauce for you to take home to the wife and enjoy.
I'll put it on
Available
the wife.
on my website. All right. I want to thank the crew. I want to thank my mom. And I want to thank you at home for tuning in. Until next time, remember, eat well and laugh well. Good night, folks.
Thank you.